Yo, what is going on everyone? Guiding Light here, back with another quick Hogwarts Legacy guide, and in this one I'm going to be explaining how you can complete all of the Merlin trials here in the game. So the Merlin trials are very easy for the most part. They kind of try really hard to make themselves seem complicated, but to be fair, they're really not. Sometimes they might have you leave you stumbled for like a little 30-second period or so, but they are very simple. So don't be intimidated by these Merlin trials. I will show you guys the very simple method in order to complete all of them. So just keep in mind, guys, every Merlin trial may be a little bit different, but there are only 9 different variations to these Merlin trials, so you will always get one of the 9 options. So once you guys have begun the Merlin trial, it won't really give you any hints or anything like that. Sometimes there might be some glowing magic and stuff like that. But just keep in mind, almost every time there will be 3 things that you need to do for the Merlin trial. So if the Merlin trials have been leaving you stumped or you just have no idea on how to complete them, there's a good chance you might just not have the spell unlocked yet that's required to complete them. So after testing this out on a few of these different Merlin trials, I do believe I have the solution to all 9 of the different variations. So just depending on what variation you get, it will depend on what spell that you guys have to use. So I will very quickly walk you through one of these Merlin challenges, and I will show you guys one of the other variations as well. And from there, I will just simply show you guys how to complete the other 7 variations. So to get started, guys, if you ever see this variation where you have a rock with a glowing gem inside, for this one, you will need to use the Luminos spell. This is the one that creates the light. From there, what you want to do is look around the area until you see some glowing flies or some glowing in the area. All you'll have to do from here is just simply use that spell. This will cause the flies to actually follow you around, and all you'll have to do is walk them over to the blocks which you're trying to open, and this will open the block. So you'll just simply do this 3 times, and that's how you will complete this variation. So like I said, guys, these challenges aren't too complicated. A lot of the time, the hardest part is just simply finding these objects because they'll always be hidden somewhere or tucked away. But other than that, the challenges are pretty simple. So as you can see here, I'm just rounding up these fleas and just bringing them back to the block in order for it to unlock. You will have to do 3 of them, and then you will very simply complete the challenge. So that's how you'll complete that variation. Another variation of these puzzles may have you looking for these big pillars. Now, there will always be 3 pillars, and like I said, guys, the hardest part is really just finding these pillars. So if you use the Revelio spell, you will be able to see the glowing through the walls and eventually find these pillars. Now, for this, what you will need to do is use the fire spell so that you can shoot fire out of your wand and just simply light all 3 of the pillars. Keep in mind though, you will have a very small time frame in order to get this done in, so it may require the broomstick in certain situations so that you can get around fast enough. I know this one took me 3 or 4 different tries once I found the pillars to get activated, just simply because of how far apart they were. So here's a quick look at me running through this one, and then I will show you guys how to complete the other 7 variations in case you stumble upon them. But for this one, I highly suggest just using the flame perk here, not the one that comes out of your feet, but the one that actually shoots straight out of your wand, as it has much more range and therefore will be able to get this one done with a lot easier. And also, don't be afraid to use your broom if you guys are outside and having trouble reaching some of these other ones, because they are really far apart sometimes, and you really only do have about 15 seconds to light all 3 of them. So in case you guys stumble across some other variations, I will show you guys how to complete them. So there is another variation of the Merlin trial, which you will see these platforms on. This one is one of the more simple challenges, as it is just a jumping puzzle. You just simply have to jump across these platforms until you reach the end in order to complete this one. There will be another variation of the puzzle where you will see these little sockets in the ground. What you will need to do is look for these little rings on the ground and simply use the Accio spell to pull them towards you until eventually they are in those sockets. So if you use the Revelio spell, they will locate where those jewels are that will go in the sockets, and from there just use the Accio spell and pull them into the sockets to unlock all 3 columns. Now the next variation we're going to talk about is if you ever see this big stone block. Now this is one of the easiest ones to complete. The only spell you will need is the Confrigo. So just use the Confrigo to destroy all the blocks that look like the one above, and this will immediately complete the challenge. There will be about 3 or 4 of these blocks scattered around the Merlin trial. As always, guys, if you're having trouble finding them, use Revelio, and you will be able to see them glowing. Now for this next variation, you will have these statues that you will see. As soon as you start the Merlin trial, they will crumble and break. Now this is a very easy challenge to complete. Just simply use the Reparo spell on all three of the statues, and you will easily move on to the next variation. So you will see pieces laying all over the place that look alike and that are also glowing as usual. So in order to get this one done, just use Reparo and you will get this one done very easily. Now, this next variation will have you finding these pillars with the balls on top of them. This one is actually a little more complicated just simply because it's so hard to find these pillars at times. Now, it's also very, very simple at the same time because you won't need any special spells in order to get this one done. All you'll have to do is just simply knock the balls off of the pillars using your basic spell, and they're usually found in groups of 3 right around the trial marker. So in order to find them, as always, use Rebellio if you're having trouble, and you guys will be good to go. Now for the next one, this one is going to be a little bit more annoying, and you will need a spell called Flipendo in order to get these ones done. So if you ever see these rocks standing in a row, you will need to flip them over until all of the arrows are pointing in the same direction. It's pretty easy, but it just can be a little complicated because of all the different angles of spinning around the blocks. But for this one, like I said, guys, just simply use the Flipendo spell until eventually all of the blocks are lined up. Now for the last variation in the challenges, you will have this big giant dome in the middle. For this, you will use the spell Deep Pulso and just simply pull the ball into the crater until eventually it locks it into place. Now sometimes you might have to clear a path in order for the ball to be able to finally roll down into it. And now that's going to be all 9 of the different variations of Merlin trials and how to complete them. So depending on which one you stumble across, it's going to be random. That is going to be the solution to each and every one. I've showed you guys all the different spells that you guys will need. Now, if anytime that you guys see these symbols on the ground, I highly suggest that you at least attempt to do the Merlin trial as soon as you find it, because that way you will get extra inventory space every time that you complete one of these challenges. You will get extra inventory space, and it is extremely, extremely helpful because there's always so much loot on the ground, and you don't want to run out of space because you'll have to start deleting and dropping stuff, and it just kind of ruins the fun in the game. So anytime you see these Merlin trials, guys, definitely try to complete as many of them as you can. I really hope this video helps you guys out to complete all 9 of the different variations of these trials within the game. Now that's pretty much it for me in this video, guys. If you enjoyed the video or you want to see any more guides on Hogwarts Legacy, definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.